All right, what's going on, guys? So I want to give you guys this quick encouraging word. So I was the other day just driving, and I realized that I have not filled up gas in the longest time. And I have this car where it's a hybrid electric. Basically, it's gas powered as well as a plug-in hybrid electric. So basically at night I would always plug in and I would have a certain amount of capacity to be able to drive purely on electric, or I can do a combination of both, or I can just drive on gas. Now, since before Korea, I realized that I have not filled up gas in the longest time, maybe 4 or 5 plus months. And it's just been hanging at a very low amount this entire time. And so I went down this rabbit hole of, does gasoline expire? And if so, what about the higher octanes? And I got some answers and things like that. But basically, I'm okay for now. But then that got me to think, and the Lord was able to just show me something incredible, right? There's so many of us in life right now. We are serving, we're doing all these different things in the kingdom of God. And many of us are wondering, why is it that I get so exhausted? Why is it that I don't have the energy, the mental capacity, and all these other things? And a lot of us are inclined to think that, oh, maybe I just need a break. Maybe I need to go on a vacation. Maybe I need a sabbatical. Maybe I need this and that. And that's great. There's nothing wrong with that. We need our time of healing and resting and whatnot. But a lot of us are actually I guess we're misinformed to think that that's the only reason. And as I was looking at my car, I thought, man, isn't it great that even though I don't have this gasoline, I can still run every single night, every single day, because I'm always plugged in. And the problem we have in society and just as Christians in general is that we're not plugged in. A lot of us, we think we're plugged in, but there's a connection issue. You have to you stick the plug in all the way. If you don't latch on, it doesn't go in. And for many of us, we're just not even plugged in to begin with. And that's the issue we have spiritually speaking, where a lot of us, we think we have some kind of a interaction and intimacy and love for the Lord, but that's not the case. And even if you look at many Christians who have, so many just crazy ministries, you would think, man, take a chill pill, right? Like, why is it that even for me, some people will ask, like, man, you post so much every single day. Don't you get exhausted? Don't you get tired? What's going on with you? And blah, blah, blah. And they think so narrowly. And I'm not saying that in an offensive way. But for me, when I post, when I do these different things, it's simply an extension of my secret and quiet life. The time I take to worship the Lord, the time I take to read the word, the time I take late at night to be able to just be filled, to pray, to get in his presence and do these different things. And for most of the day, I kid you not, even though I'm working, even though I'm doing other things, I'm filling myself. I'm getting into the presence of God. I'm in worship with song. I am trying to listen to other, sermons, read the word, pray at night and things like that. And so when I end up posting, when I end up quote unquote doing ministry or serving, not quote unquote, but when I'm doing this, which is an extension of ministry, but also an extension just of my life, that's simply what it is. It's just a supplement and just a natural part of me acting out. I don't have to go, 10 hours and prep for this. I don't have to go and, just get right and get into this mode that like a lot of people do when they start serving. But it should be an extension, because in the secret place, in the quiet place, you were able to plug in. And a lot of people, they'll look at you like the gasoline. They're like, hey, you haven't filled up in a long time. You haven't gone on a vacation in a long time. You haven't, exercised or worked out in a long time. Oh, you haven't done these activities. You haven't fellowshipped. You haven't gone to a prayer meeting. You haven't done these activities in a long time. And they'll look at you from a gasoline point of view. And even though you're gasoline, it's good. It's nothing bad to go, on a vacation or a prayer meeting or, take a sabbatical or do these things. But because they haven't seen the other side to it, meaning the gas portion as well as the electric component, the place where arguably it's more important because it's in the secret place. It's in a place for which nobody sees you. You don't understand the brevity, the amount of time, the intimacy, and all of those things that's reminiscent of a spiritual walk with Christ that is more of a foundation than anything else. And so many of you guys, you may be in a position where you're evaluating where you are serving. You may be looking at the ministry that you have and you're wondering why you're so anxious, you're so irritable, you're so impatient and temperamental, you're wondering why you're not energized, you feel like you lost the zeal, you feel like you lost passion and fervor, and all these different things. But I would ask simply, are you plugged in? Because many of us, even though we naturally, lean towards the gasoline model of, oh, maybe it's because I have to take a break, maybe it's because I have to, go on a vacation or a sabbatical or any of these other activities, quote unquote. But rather, what is it in the secret place on a nightly, daily basis that when nobody else sees it? And this car, guys, it's stuck in a garage, quietly being charged. It's not out here at a, gas station at the local gasoline, and everyone sees you plugged in and trying to, fill up and things like that. It's none of those things. It's rather a discreet, and if you look at the car, it's like the hole to like plug it in is not that obvious, right? And so most people will look at your gasoline side, evaluate you on that, as opposed to your other side. But here's the crazy part. There are so many of us, and myself included, I don't get exhausted. I'm not here thinking, man, I need to take a 6 month sabbatical. And again, I'm not mocking anybody that does that. To each your own. You have seasons in life. You may have a time where you're mourning, maybe you're in a time of, deep pain and healing and those things. But for the most part, when a lot of us look at our life, serving, doing ministry, doing all these different activities, and you're like, man, I got to scale back. Even once a month is too much. Oh, once every 6 months is too much. And if you're routinely in this place of exhaustion, irritability, and all these emotional, fleshly things, I would ask you quite simply, are you actually plugged in? Are you plugged in on a daily basis for which it can keep you going? And again, everybody has different capacities, different skill sets, to each their own. You have a different amount of talent, 1 talent, 2 talent, 5 talent, 10 talent, like the parable says. But everyone has their own. And what you're allotted, the hand that you're dealt, what are you doing with that, right? Are you being a good steward of it? Are you energized and rejuvenated in Christ, or are you doing it based on the worldly things? And when you look at it from that perspective, it becomes very clear why it is that you can't endure, why it is that you can't serve, why it is that you have to always step back and take a step aside, right? And so I want to ask and encourage some people. You may be exhausted because you're simply not plugged in. And for me, I'm going to go as long as I can because I'm energized, I'm good. And whenever I do these things, and again, this is just as an example, I'm not trying to call attention to the ministry or myself, but when I go about doing these things, it's simply just an extension of who I am, meaning my lifestyle with the Lord. And so I'm not here, just trying to muster up all this energy, trying to do one video every day. And I'm like huffing and puffing afterwards and all that. It's just an extension. And so that's what it should be when you love on others, when you're going to church, doing your worship sets, and when you're going and doing your janitorial duties or your welcoming duties or your local food shelter, whatever it is that you're doing, it should be an extension. And you should never be going home bitter, angry, impatient, irritable, just exhausted, and all these different things, right? When you're doing this ministry, even for your kids at home, you're raising kids, you're going through whatever it is that you're going through. It should be that God is empowering you. He's giving you energy, sustenance, provision, protection, and all these things. And so that begs the question, are you plugged in? Are you plugged in on a daily basis to get you going? Otherwise, quite frankly, you're not going to last. And as much as you're going to look at the ways of the world as like a gasoline, oh, I should just take a vacation then. Maybe I need to, buy a nice meal and go out for a good steak dinner, whatever it is. I'm not trying to mock that, but a lot of us, we're not looking at the other side. The fact that secretly in the quiet place, you got to be charged up every day, even all day, I would say, in prayer, in His presence, and in the Word. And so I want to encourage you guys with this. God bless you guys. Talk to you guys very soon.